Hey everyone, and welcome to my preview looking ahead to this weekend's Mexican Grand Prix. If the US Grand Prix was anything to go by in Texas last time, then I've got no doubt we're going to be in for an absolutely cracking Mexican Grand Prix. And the track in Mexico is a track where you can overtake. There are plenty of areas on the track where you can overtake. So I think we're going to be in for an absolute cracker of a race in Mexico. And last time out in the US Grand Prix, we saw Max Verstappen take race victory and extend his lead in the Drivers' Championship. And I wouldn't actually bet against Max and Red Bull um, extending their lead in the Drivers' Championship anyway. We're going to a track where, with Mexican track being at a higher altitude, and Red Bull, technically, and in the past as well, have gone well in Mexico. So, the Mexican track is a good track for Red Bull, and I would fancy their chance of winning this weekend. As for Mercedes, I think it may well be a case of this weekend anyway, in Mexico, of damage limitation and trying to finish as high as they can. Oh, look, of course they'll want to. No, they'll have ambitions of wanting to win the race. But I think as I say, because of the altitude, the fact that Red Bull have, it's a Red Bull track, I'd say. I think Mercedes will have the work cut out this weekend, and that's my honest opinion. But you never know. In sport, anything can happen, and I would start anticipate Mercedes to give Red Bull a challenge this weekend, but I think you might be in for a weekend where actually Red Bull do come out on top. And I am going to come on to my predictions towards the end of the preview. But what I will say um, is the fact that I think this could be a weekend where Sergio Perez wins in front of his home crowd. No, no, going into the weekend, Checo will be he'll be feeling quite confident actually. I think on the back of the fact that he's finished on the podium in the last two races. Um, and for a while on Saturday in the US Grand Prix, during qualifying, he looked like potentially he could put the car on pole. Wasn't quite able to do it in the end, but I think no doubt Checo will be, you know, he'll know the home crowd, the majority of the home crowd, and I'd say 90% of the crowd will be behind Checo, and I think Sergio, this is probably one of the better chances, better opportunities that he'll get to want to win in Formula One in front of his home crowd as well. We know he's got the car to do it, so it's up to Checo to grasp this opportunity. And I think he will. I think Sergio will definitely be up for it in Mexico. And going into that, I mean, I've never been to the Mexican Grand Prix, but I can imagine every time the drivers go through into the stadium section of the track, they get such a buzz, and I've got no doubt Checo, he'd definitely get goosebumps now every time he'll go through that section of the track. So yeah, I'm backing Sergio Perez to win this weekend in Mexico. We'll come on to talk about who else will finish on the podium. But yeah, I think Red Bull will have a strong weekend in in Mexico, and I think that it's difficult to see at this well for this weekend anyway. I think it's difficult to see be beyond them in terms of who could usurp Red Bull at Mexico. I mentioned in my previous fact that Checo and Valtteri, them two are going to have to play a big role in terms of constructors, and the constructors, the points margin between both Mercedes and Red Bull isn't that big, so every point, particularly now towards the end, between now and the end of the season, is definitely going to count. So yeah, big job on for Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas between now and the end of the season to be right up there alongside Max and Lewis. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how the battle plan pans out between Red Bull and Mercedes this weekend. But I've got a sneaky suspicion that this could be a weekend that sees a Mexican track suit the Red Bull car more than the Mercedes. And talking of exciting battles, we're going to be in for, I reckon, another Titanic battle this weekend between McLaren and Ferrari. And Ferrari have definitely been showing signs in recent Grand Prix that they are they're getting close. They're getting closer and closer to challenging McLaren. And I think Ferrari have definitely been on a more of an up. I think McLaren they've been steady. I wouldn't say they've been fantastic, but they've been steady, and they've still been picking up points. But the points margin between both is really small. And I anticipate another close battle between both teams this weekend in Mexico. We saw that in the US Grand Prix, and I think I was actually pleased with Dan Ricciardo as well. He had one of those weekends where things just seem to go right. And I think this second half, as I've mentioned, um, in my preview for the US, I think Daniel's definitely had a stronger second half of 2021, and yeah, it's good to see Daniel doing well, and yeah, really happy for Daniel, and a good qualifying session, also a good race as well for the Aussie, and yeah, definitely he'll no doubt be going into the weekend feeling pretty confident. No, Lando's form has taken a bit of a um not a turn for the worse, but no, it's not been as good as it was earlier in the season. But even then, Lando's still picking up useful points for the team, and potentially McLaren could potentially be the third best team this weekend in Mexico. Could it actually even it was Mercedes? So yeah, watch out for that. I'm just intrigued to see how McLaren get on this week, and I would expect Ferrari to be challenging McLaren, being in amongst them as well. Could Ferrari challenge Mercedes? Quite possibly this weekend. So we'll have to wait and see how that pans out this weekend in Mexico. Another battle to watch out for this weekend is the battle for fifth in the constructors between Alpine and AlphaTauri. I think ever since the Hungarian Grand Prix, you kind of felt that Alpine were um, secure in P5. They looked not overly comfortable, but comfortable in fifth place. But again, points there's not a massive margin between themselves and AlphaTauri, so that's definitely something to keep an eye out for. Um, and Yuki Tsunoda picked up some really good points last time out in the US as well, and a good weekend for Yuki Tsunoda actually, a good solid weekend. Had a good qualifying session and had a decent race as well. So Yuki's definitely got something to build on. I think the thing is with Yuki is that whilst there've been flashes of brilliance, there's also been errors that Yuki has made this year. But I guess you're gonna have that as a rookie. You will make mistakes in your first season in Formula One. It's just about learning from them. And as I say, Yuki had a good weekend in US Grand Prix, and that's definitely something to build on for the final five races of the season. And yeah, I think AlphaTauri and obviously Pierre Gasly, disappointing race last time out in the US, but Pierre will no doubt be pretty confident bouncing back in Mexico. And as I say, with Red Bull, the track suiting their car, with AlphaTauri, I think the track could suit the AlphaTauri as well. So, I'm intrigued to see and interested to see whether how close AlphaTauri can get, or can they beat Alpine this weekend? So, yeah, that's another intriguing battle to keep an eye out for fifth place in the constructors. Um, so still no news about who will be Valtteri Bottas's teammate for 2022 next season. I think the more races that happen, it's really I won't say it's upsetting, I guess, in the fact that I think Van Giovinazzi, if he was going to be announced for 2022, then I think they would have done it by now. So yeah, I mean, Antonio unfortunately hasn't had the season that he would have liked. The team would have liked either. But yeah, I think as I say, if the team were going to stick with Antonio, then they would have made or I think we would have known about it by now. But interesting to see what does happen with Alfa Romeo, who will be alongside Valtteri Bottas in 2022. Um, but yeah, so I'm going to come on to my predictions. I've already mentioned that I think Sergio Perez will win in Mexico this weekend. I'm going to go for Max Verstappen to finish second, so a Red Bull 1-2. And in terms of who will finish third, hmm, who will finish third? I'm going to go. Because I was horribly wrong about who would finish on. Well, not totally overly wrong. I mean, I got Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton. I said both of them would finish on podium in the US, but I did say Fernando Alonso would finish on podium in the US, and that never materialised. So I will go for Sergio Perez win, as I say, in Mexico. Max Verstappen to finish second, and I'm going to go for a podium to be rounded off by Carlos Sainz. I'm going to go for Carlos Sainz. Um, I think Carlos no didn't have a bad weekend in the US. Could have been better. But I think, as I say, I think Ferrari have been showing signs that they're definitely capable of challenging McLaren between now and the end of the season for third in the constructors. And I just fancy Carlos to be on podium this weekend. So Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen, and Carlos Sainz to finish on the podium in Mexico. That is my prediction. So yeah, if you want to talk things Formula One, I'm on Twitter at Baggies20, and I'm also on Instagram at ManishPatel89. So hope you all enjoy the Mexican Grand Prix, and I will catch up with all you guys and girls soon. Take care, everyone.